Could we have finally discovered how Hashirama Senju died? Judging by what is currently shown in the Boruto manga, with the evolved Ten Tails using the element of wood and Kawaki, thanks to Ada, rewriting the memories of all people on the planet, many questions arise about how Hashirama is connected to such immense power. Is he the Ten Tails? Enjoy watching. If you watch the Naruto anime, you know that there was a shinobi who was called a god, the only person capable of using the element of wood in the Naruto anime. Many of you might argue that he wasn't the only one who could use this technique, but you are mistaken. In the literal sense, no one other than Hashirama used the element of wood, and only over time we learn that this technique belongs to the divine tree, which is the Ten Tails. But let me explain more about why no one except Hashirama used this technique, as you might remember Yamato, Madara, and Obito. However, Yamato had Hashirama's genes, as did Madara, and Obito had a part of his body consisting of Hashirama's cells. None of the users of this power could wield this technique without Hashirama's genes. He is the sole bearer of this power. Even the fact that he is a descendant of Hagoromo's son does not tell us that the element of wood was passed to the first from the Sage of Six Paths himself. Let me explain briefly. The concept of reincarnation implies that the soul of the holder reincarnates in a new body after some time with the same power it had in previous lives. Madara and Sasuke both received the power of Hagoromo's son through reincarnation, Sharingan. Logically, Hashirama received power and a unique dojutsu in the form of the element of wood. The question arises, where is this technique in Naruto? Since it comes from Hagoromo's descendant, and that's why Hashirama inherited this power, why doesn't Naruto have the element of wood? After all, he is a direct descendant and a reincarnation. I understand that the answer is obvious, and Kishimoto simply didn't think about it, since giving Naruto the power of the Nine Tails, as well as the element of wood, poor Sasuke would have flown off in the first season, and with this element, one could also suppress the fox's power. So it was not thought through, and what we saw in the anime and manga is canon, right? Essentially, Hashirama is the only holder of the technique that belongs to the divine tree. This makes him mega unique, considering that now, after many decades, there is another holder of this power, and that is Juro. In the literal sense, a part of the Ten Tails, a being that uses this element without Hashirama's genes, as it is originally Jubi's power. And here comes the question, how did he die? Hashirama was so unique, his regeneration was impossibly powerful, and the only one who could defeat him at the time was Madara, who lost in their last battle and never tried to fight his friend again. The first essentially had no one left who could defeat him, absolutely. So we always came to one answer, he died of old age. However, during the Fourth Great Ninja War, he was summoned young, but Hiruzen was summoned old. How does Edo Tensei work? Does a shinobi resurrect at the moment of their death, at their peak strength, or at the age when their genes were taken? Were Hashirama's genes taken when he was young? It's unclear. An impure world reincarnation doesn't answer the question of what happened to Hashirama and when he died. Old age is the most logical answer. After all, when he returned, he didn't say that someone killed him. He didn't talk about his death at all, and essentially, Kishimoto didn't think it all through. But now, in the Boruto anime we know that Jigen existed during Hashirama's time. Could he have killed him? There is also a strong possibility that Jigen already had Shibai's body at that time, which had the power of omnipotence and could rewrite the memories of all people on Earth. In other words, Jigen could have come to Earth to implement his plan, but met an enemy in the form of Hashirama. He killed him, and then rewrote everyone's memories to think that the Hokage died naturally, of old age, or from illness, because he realized it was too early to execute his plan. The first Hokage is quite unique, and we don't know if Isshiki ever approached him. But logically speaking, in his search for a vessel, he could very well have approached Kaguya's descendant. We also have references indicating the existence of two other Otsutsuki, judging by the tablets we saw in Ishiki's dimension. In the Naruto world, there is a strange mention of two forces. The first is Orochimaru. I think you should agree with me that he resembles an Otsutsuki, and if we recall that Ishiki's clan members symbolize zodiac signs, among them is a snake. Orochimaru could be a descendant of this Otsutsuki. The second force is Jashin and Hidan, with a technique very similar to karma. This entity is called a god and is offered life as a sacrifice. Besides this, we know that Otsutsuki travel in pairs. Is there a possibility that Isshiki fought against these two? Or perhaps Kaguya did? It's unknown. This means that the authors have many ways to reveal all this in the Boruto anime, up to the point that these two representatives were once defeated by Hashirama and Jigen. Then Hashirama was betrayed, and history was rewritten because it was too early to implement Ishiki's plan. Why did I even think of this theory? The first reason is the uniqueness of the Hokage, the only user of the wood element in the Naruto anime. Nothing is known about his children and his death. Then there are Momoshiki Isshiki's words after the activation of the omnipotence technique. He asked Boruto how many times he thinks the world has already been rewritten by the power of the Otsutsuki. I also wondered how many times, and has there been anything like this in shinobi history? Yes, if you remove the work Boruto, then all the questions can be easily answered. Hashirama just aged and got sick. Nothing is known about his children because they were in Anbu, where everything is encrypted, and Jigen essentially doesn't exist. Hashirama's uniqueness is simply a mutation that gave him the Ten Tails genes. But thanks to the Boruto anime, the authors can expand the canon, and we might learn something more intriguing than we could have imagined. In the future, we will definitely be told why the first could use the wood element, and how he was connected to the Ten Tails. After all, he is the only one who could subdue other tailed beasts, and only the Gedo statue, the main body of the Jubi, can do that. This led me to speculate that an Otsutsuki defeated Hashirama and then rewrote history to hide his presence. What do you think about all this? I'm eagerly awaiting your opinions in the comments. Don't forget to like. Good luck to everyone.